Hey, what's up guys, it's DarkArmedDuelist, and today we got some awesome new free agents for Rage of the Abyss. So without further ado guys, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell in there so you can come part of the notification squad, and let's go ahead and check these new cards out. So let's go ahead and see what we've got for Rage of the Abyss's free agents that we're going to get out of that awesome new set. So we're going to go ahead and get a new spell card that's going to be released that's going to be called Exalting Morganite, which is actually a really cool card that has an effect just like Time Tearing Morganite that applies this effect for the rest of the duel, which is pretty cool. This card has the ability that you can activate this effect, that you cannot activate monster effects in the hand, so no more hand traps for the rest of the duel, which is a little bit of a downside, but it depends on the kind of deck that you're playing. Each of your monsters can attack up to 2 times on monsters during each battle phase, which is actually really broken for an OTK style deck to be able to just go in for game. And if your opponent, or if your monster battles an opponent's monster, any battle damage it inflicts to your opponent is doubled, which is a pretty awesome ability just to help you go in for game for those OTK strategies. I can actually see this being really interesting in a deck like Cubic, to be able to just basically just swing in multiple times, which would be really insane. But decks like that, maybe even Numeron, would be really good with this card, and it's just really crazy. This card also has the ability that you can banish this card from your graveyard to add a Morganite card from your deck to your hand, then place 1 card from your hand on the bottom of the deck, literally searching Time Tearing Morganite, which is pretty cool that we're getting more Morganite-like cards, and I really like that we're getting those style of cards. So one of the other free agents that we've actually got is going to be Union Pilot. Union Pilot is going to be an awesome new card for Union monsters, and this card is actually a level 5 Light Machine Union effect monster with 2100 attack and 1000 defense points, very similar to Union Driver. And this card has a pretty cool ability that you can only use the second effect of this card's name once per turn. That once per turn, you can either target one effect monster that you control and equip this card to that target, or unequip this monster and special summon it. And if the equipped monster would be destroyed by battle by card effect, destroy this card instead, which a lot of Union monsters actually have that ability, so it just has basically a shared Union effect. This card's second effect, that is a once per turn effect, is that you can return this effect card, or return this equipped card to the hand, and then equip 1 banished Union monster to an appropriate monster that you control, as if it was equipped by that Union monster's effect. And if you do, special summon this card from your hand, making it a really good extender, but it does require a little bit of setup because you do have to have a banished Union monster. But overall, that does give a lot of boost to ABC and decks like that, which is really nice, and I really like this card. It could be probably a one of in ABC. I could see that being probably just a one of, but it's still pretty good for a power boost, especially since we're getting the new XYZ Dragon Cannon cards, which is absolutely crazy. This really supports that, and I really like the XYZ cards that we're getting. So I really think this card is going to be just an awesome new card for ABC and XYZ. So let's go ahead and check out the next one. So this card is actually really cool for lore. This is actually really insane, and I love this card. So before we get into the card, guys, I want to really quickly point out that is actually the Orcus symbol right there in the exposed neck piece right here, which is really insane that you can actually see the lore, because this is actually Ib, which is really insane. I believe this is like when she's turning into Galatea, but I could be wrong. But I do see right there the basically Orcus symbol right there in that neck plate, which is really cool, and I like that a lot. That's really cool. I believe that's also the hair piece for Ib as well, but don't quote me on that. Definitely really cool for lore, but let's go ahead and check this out. I really like what they typed up for this one. Don't let the mech knight or mech bugs bite. That's really cool. So to tie into Mech Knights, guys. So this card is Dream Absorber. So it doesn't have any like World Legacy in the name or anything like that, but it is a level 2 Water Fairy effect monster, which is very similar to, I believe, Ib, which is really cool. So this card has 0 attack and 0 defense points, and has a really cool effect that you can only use this card's first effect once per turn. That if your opponent activates a monster effect in the hand, grave, or banishment, which now we're actually calling it banishment, announcement, just like we changed graveyard to GY, you can actually special summon this card from your graveyard or your hand, wherever it is, but destroy it during the end phase, which is a pretty cool ability. Plus, I will note for you guys, this card is a level 2, so maybe you can tech this into Sprite, which might be interesting, just in case you like maybe get hand trapped. You can just special summon this card to make Gigantic Sprite. But this card actually gets massive because it has the ability for its second effect that each time your opponent activates any monster effect, this card gains 1,000 attack immediately as its effect resolves. So this card could get huge, but it does require your opponent to do something. So, I mean, it's cool for lore. Don't see it getting much play in my opinion, but I could be wrong. But it's still pretty cool. I like it for the lore, and the artwork is phenomenal. For those Destiny players out there, it really makes me think of an Exo, if you guys have played Destiny, and I really like that a lot about this card because it really looks awesome. So let's go ahead and check out the next card. And this card is broken. This card is so broken, and the one I really wanted to get to with you guys. And this card is so cool because this card is actually the new super poly target we have, and I really think this one might be on par with Mud Dragon and Garua. And I know that's a lot to say because those are like the best super poly targets, but with how prevalent dragons are in the game, this card could actually see a lot of competitive play. This card is Protostar Dragon of the Void, and it is a level 8 light dragon fusion effect monster that has 2,500 attack and 2,500 defense points. And this card is pretty good because it has the ability that it just takes a light or dark dragon monster plus any dragon monster. And there's so many boss monsters out there that are dragon monsters. So this is going to make Super Poly be played even more than it used to be, which is a lot because like everybody's playing Super Poly right now because of a lot of decks being just like it breaks their board. But this card is actually broken. Like it's really good just for the like materials alone because the majority of dragons outside of like Tempai being fire dragons are actually light or dark monsters. So this is actually really good just to be able to have a generic super poly target for dragons. And this card has the ability that you can only use this card's first and second effect of this card's name once per turn. And it has the ability, if this card is fusion summon, you can target cards your opponent controls up to the number of your light and dark monsters used as material and destroy them. But it does say you can target cards your opponent controls up to the number of your light and dark monsters used for this card's material and destroy them. So you have to use your light and dark monsters for this card's effect to be able to pop cards, but it's still pretty good because it is going to pop cards on the field if you need it to, but it also has that pretty cool effect that it just does require. It's so generic for Super Poly, which is why it's really good. But I could see this card seeing a lot of competitive play because it is such a generic card. This card also has a second effect that if this card becomes banished, you can actually target a level 4 light or dark dragon monster that you control, and its level becomes 8, which could probably help out in like Galaxy Eyes decks or Dragon Link, depending on what you're trying to go for. But I don't know how much that effect is actually going to go off to level manipulate one of your dragon monsters, but it might come up more often than you think it will with the new Light In and Dark In dragon retrains and the new Light and Darkness dragon, which is pretty cool. And I think this is actually the perfect time to create a super poly target like this with the new Light and Darkness dragon support coming out, especially since the new Light and Darkness dragon is going to be like a crazy amount of negates. So this card is going to be able to basically probably deal with that card, so it's really nice to finally have something that can do that. So let's go ahead and see what our next card is going to be. So this is actually a retrain. This is actually the final free agent that we've gotten as announcements today, and it's actually a really weird name, and it's based on a super cool old vanilla monster, which is actually really neat. I don't believe the vanilla monster was actually ever released in the TCG, but it's actually Tura Puron, which is pretty cool for a name. But this card is a level 2 water aqua monster. Again, it's a level 2 aqua monster, so that means you can make Toad with this because it is an aqua, which is pretty cool. And it has the ability you can only use this card's name effect once per turn. I really like that they're actually sticking to hard once per turns. We learned from previous mistakes. This card has the ability, if this card is in your hand, you can actually target a water monster in your main monster zone, destroy that monster that you control, and if you do, special summon this card to the zone it was in. then you can destroy all face-up monsters, or all face-up cards, excuse me, in this card's column that your opponent has, which is pretty good to be able to pop multiple cards in the field. I could actually see this being played in like maybe a frog deck, to be able to just summon out a bunch of like monsters to your side of the field, and if you need to pop something on the field, this card can just deal with everything in its straight up column, which is really nice that you just summoned this card to your side of the field and pop everything that's face up in your opponent's column that this card is summoned basically in. So columns are going to matter in like frog decks now, which is really neat. But you may be able to play this in Sprite as well, because they do play water cards in Sprite, so this could actually be really interesting in that, and I really like that a lot. So definitely tell me what you think of these new free agents down in the comments down below. I really like them. I really think that this one, the new Light and Dark Dragon Super Poly target, I think this is like the best one of them all. You know, also for the artwork alone, this card looks sick. Like, it looks really cool, but I think out of all the artwork, this one like wins for me. Like, it really does, because it's so cool. Like, this one looks so cool. I just wish it was a little bit better, but who knows? Maybe we'll find a way to break it in the future. But this card is really cool. I think that the Super Poly target's the best one though, and I think this one's going to see the most competitive play. So that's gonna do for this one, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Definitely hit that bell and so you can become part of notification squad, and comment down below which one of the new free agents you like the best. I really feel like Dragon of the Void is the best one, but you guys might have a different opinion, and that's okay. Comment down below, and we'll see you guys in the next videos. See you later, guys.